Good afternoon. I'm going to do a demo of the 8336 single area OSPF for IPv6, which is to say OSPF v3. There is a form of OSPF v3 which supports both IPv4 and IPv6 called address families, but that's kind of outside the scope of this course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the preliminary configuration, stop now, do the preliminary configuration that I kind of discussed in the basic configuration lab, because I need to do the same thing with these three routers that I did with the other three routers. Then I'll also do the IPv6 address configuration, review that, and then dive in on OSPF. The big things to note here, as with everything else regarding IPv6, you have to turn on IPv6 unicast routing. You have to assign the link local addresses. You have to assign a router ID. Now, as you can see from the topology, everything is red. All my interfaces are down. There's no addressing of any kind. So I'm not building IPv6 on top of IPv4. I'm building IPv6 all by itself, standalone. If you're doing this in a physical lab, you could probably get away with doing v4 and then v6 right on top of it, but for now I'm doing this from scratch. So let me get some basic configuration going on these things, and I'll come back in just a minute. Okay, so I've got my basic configurations going. The other thing I need to change is some of my addressing, because I did this in a different lab than the one we've mocked up here. I was using different hardware, so to speak. Basically, the hardware that you would find in room 214, actually. One. So I'm basically taking the configs I built and unfixing them, shall we say. 0, 0. So in any case, I've got my no IP domain lookup. I've got my console passwords. I've got my VTY password, all of it. My enable passwords. And of course, as I mentioned last time, or in a previous video, a scary prohibitive banner of the day. There's actually several different banner options. There's there's a banner you can present every time you log in, time someone attempts to log in, some others. I think that that information is in the portable command guide. Speaking of which, we are in the portable command guide. I believe for OSPF we are in, yes, chapter 15. Also chapter 8 of the companion guide or the Netacad material. This, of course, is true of Netacad version 6. I believe the structure of version 6 is rather different, so the chapter numbering will not be the same, but it's still OSPF. So the next thing I need to do is put some layer 3 configuration on these things. I've actually got it a lot prepped. See, I've got my layer 3 configuration here. I've got my setup for my unicast routing, etc. But I'm going to do this one step at a time. So going back to router 1, I want to configure terminal is copy this, drop, bam. So that interface comes up. That is the only interface that comes up because these are serial lines. I have to turn both sides on for anything to work. And I'll go that. And as per usual, I am putting some kind of commentary on every interface to indicate what it's connecting to or what subnet it supports, etc. So let me do 3 right quick and copy. Remember, yes, and if I want to do that, that's fine. copy run start is a good idea. Save early, save often. This is a laptop, so if I were to lose power for some reason, it wouldn't be the end of the world. I wouldn't just die, but it would be rather inconvenient. And now, interestingly enough, I've got a link here between 1 and 3, which is not up. So let me figure out why that is the case. So do the end show IPv6 interface brief, and serial 001 is gig 001 is not assigned and is down. Okay. So, okay, that is this is my problem. I put, yeah, that's a mistake. So this is going to stay. So what I need to do is I need to go into config t int s0 hack 0 1. Actually, no, not 1 0. Do show run in interface. Yeah, so it is an IPv6 address that is link local. Why did it not like that? That's fine. So, okay. The good news is I can do, that's the problem. That's my problem. I was a goof. I forgot, when I did this, I must have forgotten, oh dear, I have forgotten all of the prefix lengths. That doesn't help at all. So I've got, the only reason these are up at all is that I had link locals on them. Okay, so let's try this again. So int 0 hack 0. Let's do that. Bam. And I'm going to fix the rest of this right quick. Okay, so I had to fix all my addressing. Now I can do end show IP6 neighbor. I can spell neighbor. So I can see my neighbor relationships. And show IPv6. Okay. And 2, okay. And show IPv6. So it is, I've got neighbor relations between 1 and 2. 2 is, okay, so let me try this one again. Okay, why does it not see both of them? Interesting. 2 doesn't seem, 3 sees 2 but not 1. Why? Okay. I'm going to go to Preferences, turn on port labels. And that doesn't help me. Okay. Okay, so I have confirmed that I have working IPv6. The results I was getting were just a little weird, but that's okay. I managed. Let's see, 13.3. Yeah. For some reason, if I do show IPv6 neighbors from 3, I only hear from the 23 network, whereas on the other side, with router 1, I get everything. I've also turned on IPv6 unicast routing. The next thing I'm going to do, just for Well, the next thing I'm going to do is actually turn on OSPF v3 starting at router 1. What I do is this. I create the routing process, I give it a router ID, and I start adding interfaces to an area, like this. So I could do now, and for all of this, you absolutely must have unicast routing. You must also have a router ID. Without the router ID, it just will not work. And I have copy, do this, and as I do this, I should watch these neighbor adjacencies form. So with IPv6, you'll technically have 3 different layers of neighbor adjacency. You'll have layer 2 adjacency with CDP or LLDP. You'll have layer 3 adjacency with IPv6 itself. You'll have application layer adjacency with the routing protocol, OSPF or EIGRP. Now let me drop the last one in and confirm it. And it worked. I know that for a couple of different reasons. One, on each router, I see it forming adjacencies with adjacent routers. Router 3 sees 2222 and 1111. I can also do show IPv6 route OSPF, and I will see the OSPF routes I've learned. I know about network A, network B, and this link over here from router C. Router 2, I know about A and C, and this one here. From router 1, I know about B and C, and this link right here. So everything knows about everything else. Now, I did it this way, show IPv6 route OSPF, because I only wanted to see the OSPF routes. Now the last thing we do is we're going to turn some of these interfaces passive. That's part 3 of your lab. So let me knock that together and I'll talk about it. Okay, well, I have here we have 2 different approaches to the passive interface question. On router 1, we are passivizing or making passive, rather, because passivizing is an ugly made-up word. We're just setting gig 00 passive. That makes perfect sense because gig 00 is an access layer interface. We don't need routing traffic going into it. Now, on the other hand, if I do this, passive interface default, what that will do is turn everything off. And it breaks the neighbor adjacencies instantly between 2 and 1 and 3. Now 1 and 3 still have an adjacency with each other. So if I do show IPv6 OSPF neighbor, I still see 1. Actually, I see 2. 2 will die on this end. 2 will die on router 2 faster than it will die on 1. Notice that it is ticking down. Down. Now it should already, because the timer on OSPF, yeah, it just expired. So it ticks. Every hello packet refreshes that dead timer, so it never gets as far down as it could. So let me fix this. The way to fix this is with the no passive command. Okay, serial 001 restored itself, 000 will come back up again, and now my mesh is back. If you've got most of your interfaces using the routing protocol and a few not, set the interface that isn't passive directly. If most of your interfaces aren't using the routing protocol, set it by default and then turn things on specifically. Just pay close attention to what you're doing and how many interfaces you need, because depending on your situation, either approach might be valid. So what I've got here is a fully converged network, and that's all there is to it. Granted, I stopped a lot, and I had done all this before, so it might take you a good deal longer than just the 15 minutes. Just keep plugging at it. If you have questions, you know how to reach me. Thanks, bye.